Look out. Footy's back. G'day. I'm Bruce Dool, the flying doormat. Wait, no, I'm not. Kind of wish I was, though. What a life that dude has lived. I am James Clemens. I'm the host here of the AFL Today Show, your new favourite one-stop shop for all things footy. And joining me for the Midweek Madness Show, I love the Midweek Madness Show. We get a journo on, a Big J journo. This week, we've got Big J journalist Lockie McCurdy to talk Swans and Giants, which is very fun. And we've also got a couple of nuffs. These guys, weirdos, lunatics, dinguses. Dinguy, perhaps. It's the stats boy over there.
Absolutely. Could Carlton get Bruce Dool in their retro kit? That'd be cool. Could he just make a comeback? Surely he could still just fly in the pack still. That'd be pretty cool. Bring Cooter back. Bring them all back. Bring every old player back that Carlton's ever had. Sticks, bring him back.
We're just naming players.
Yeah,
now.
I thought Jim would be into this. Me naming Carlton players.
I don't mind this.
Yeah, I knew he would.
Let me cook for a second. We'll come back to this in the actual show. And over here as well, it's the social guy, Leo. What's going on, Leo?
Not much, Jim. First Midweek Madness show, and all I just want to do is just kiss the badge.
The Guinea badge.
Ginnivan.
Very
Awesome.
nice.
I've got the 95 Blues logo T-shirt on today.
Nice.
I'm enjoying this one. Well, they actually earned it this week, you see. They actually beat somebody since I bought it. So good job by them.
True. Yeah.
I've still got the big sticks throwbacks as well. But anyway, footy is back. Make sure you've checked out the AFL Today YouTube and all the social channels as well. There's plenty of other stuff going on. I think I had to step in for Alex for the power rankings this week.
You did pretty well, I think, yeah.
People got a little bit angry.
That's
but
how
at the
it
same
works.
time,
People just get
pretty sure
angry.
that's the entire point of it.
Yeah.
You see, Collingwood fans having a sook about Jack Ginnivan. Who would have thunk it? Anyway, let's do it. It is the Midweek Madness Show, so that means news ticker. Sam Reid retired, stats boy. We talk about
did.
this with our very good friend Lockie McCurdy. He's up there in the Swans. He wrote the story today for codesports.com.
Good inside info from him, yeah.
Very interesting stuff. 15 years, which is pretty, just blows my mind. I have one of the best comparisons I think I've ever come up with on this show about watching Sam Reid play, so you better listen later. Won the flag with the
2012,
Swans in
yep.
2012.
Yep.
181 games across 15 seasons is, I feel like that's actually difficult to do,
It is.
right?
It's hard.
It's hard to stand on.
definitely.
I'm not trying to have a go on him because every time he came back, they're like, this guy's good again. And then he got injured.
He'd play
So,
like some weeks you're like, he is awesome.
Yeah.
Build around him. What are we doing? Like
Yeah.
chaos. And then it sort of, he pings another hammy. So he was coming back through the VFL, wasn't he? And,
Yep.
Kicked 4 goals I think the last couple of weeks.
I think he was an emergency last week, actually.
He's actually
as well.
he's had a really good year and then he just got injured again, of course. Yeah. Sadly for him.
That sucks. So we talk more about Sam Reid with Lockie McCurdy. So check that out. Listen on a little bit later. Another retirement. Razor Ray. Now, Leo, you are our resident
umpire.
Yeah, you're the only one that can talk about
Boundary
this.
umpire.
That still counts.
I threw this one out there in the office earlier. Is Razor Ray the GOAT? Is he your GOAT?
I think he's my goat.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest, I don't know which umpire is better than others, but in terms of...
Darren Goldspink.
Sure.
Who?
Is that my dad? No, Razor, I think just what he's delivered to the footy media, he's actually giving an insight into why decisions are made.
He's
the way
done that
they
a lot
are,
this year, I'll give
which
you
is
that, yeah.
we need way more of. We need because footy fans got no idea what's happening.
So-
The average footy fan has no idea.
Is it the entire point of an umpire is to never be seen or basically heard, right? Like you're there just to
That's why I don't like
You're
him
meant to be literally in the middle. Just
Yeah.
we want nothing from you essentially. If you don't notice the umpires, it's a great game.
During
Simple
the
as
game,
that.
yes.
The fact that Razor Ray has always had a little bit more of an ego than perhaps than some of the other
Yeah.
umpires, I appreciate it because I'm all about just stir it up, just go full Bob Marley. We're going to stir this up, right? And Razor Ray does that better, but I think you're right. He comes out because he has a hint of a personality, unlike a lot of other ones.
Yeah, they put him on shows and things like
It's
that.
all right, explain the rules. And he's usually pretty good at that.
Yeah.
And I think some other umpires, they try to explain them. Or even actually, we've seen the schedule maker at the AFL.
Yeah.
Come out and be like, I don't know how to speak good. Oh, God. And just you can see him, he's like Garth in Wayne's World.
Wayne's World, yeah.
When Wayne isn't there and he's just sitting there going, ah. That's the AFL schedule, dude. And a lot of these times, the umpires can be a bit like that, where they're
Yeah.
just kind of weird nerds. God bless you, but weird nerds.
Yeah.
Razor Ray at least is kind of a bit, check it out, I'm Razor Ray. This is how it goes.
He has his name written on his boots. I wrote down he's got 380 games so far. He's going to be the 10th most games for umpires. 3 grand finals, 31 finals. Pretty good. There's a few umpires around him that haven't had grand finals, so they obviously have trusted him for fair few years there. So, yeah, fair enough that he's your goat.
Yeah, who's your goat?
I've got to be Matt Stevic. Most grand finals, 11 grand finals. I've umpired with him once before. I've only
Really?
umpired one ever game, and it was with Brett Roseberry and Matt Stevic, 2 AFL umpires.
Was it Make-A-Wish?
Yeah. If it was Make-A-Wish, I tell you what, I don't think
Was it for kids with 2 hairy arms? They're like, oh my God, we need to throw this
Stop,
kid
he's
a
already
bone.
dead.
That would be the saddest Make-A-Wish thing ever. I don't think I'm like, I want to go on umpire. Okay, no, thanks.
4'2" in it. Oh, amazing.
God.
But Razor Ray, what a legend.
Hey, for Europe,
To be honest, though, look, now that we've got 4 umpires on field, I love that I don't recognise the vast majority of them. I think that's good.
I think that's a good thing, yeah.
I think it's good. But at the same time, we've had some absolute shocking howlers this year. We're like, oh, better remember that. And we have actually had the guy who had a couple of those howlers. It was actually revealed, I think, last week. I don't think we talked about it on the show. The guy who was in charge of like that Carlton Freo game, and also I think the week prior, there was another howler, and he basically got dropped to the VFL for like a month after like the sort of cycle of where you're sort of assigned sort of rolled around. He played one, I think he umpired one more week, and then went, all right, back to the twos there, Palo. And he's like, oh, did screw up. Oh, dude.
I respect that, yeah.
So that's, pretty smart, I guess. But either way, good on you, Razor Ray. Outside of that, some other news. Tom Papley. This is one that we don't actually hit on with McCurdy because we hit on a lot of stuff, actually. But Papley, there's not much to sort of really dig into this beyond the simple fact that it really looked like he hurt his ankle.
Yeah.
And he did.
It did look bad, didn't it?
So it was like, was it a 4 to 6 week injury? I think they tested it, right? So
with that bye week, I think that's very handy. Yeah. As we've said, I think we said this time last year, when you have that bye, players can go back from injury. They won't rush him back. He might even miss the first week of finals because you'd still, obviously finishing on top, they're going to have another week. So I reckon he might miss the first week of finals and then come back after that. But they're saying he's going to be back for finals.
Yeah, if you're not cherry ripe, you're sort of like, if you do back your team in to like win that qualifying final, you then get another
a week off.
Before a prelim. So I don't know. It's the same sort of thing goes like if Carlton can stay in the top 4 with TDK, that extra week off does really help. But Papley is a tough one because I think he's had a strange year, right? And
up and down, for his high standards.
When he sort of gets on a little bit of a roll, he's like one of the just best forwards in the game. Simple as that. And it doesn't feel like he's quite hit that role yet.
He still kicked 30 goals, which surprised me. So he's had a decent month, I think. Yeah.
More or less than Charlie Cameron, do you know? Because I think Charlie Cameron's been a bit down this year as well.
Yeah, I'll have a quick look.
Charlie definitely has.
Yeah. There we go. Slightly more. So 28 for Charlie this year.
28 for Charlie.
That's really bad for his standards because the last 3 years before that were all over 50. So that's wild.
Not the year of the small forward.
No. Oh, there's some other small forwards out there.
Corey, what is it? We've got Matt
Paul
Owens.
Curtis.
Matt Owens. I love that Matt Owens has been copying it from Collingwood fans, and if he played for Collingwood, he'd be leading their goal.
That is a
kicking,
great,
which I
that's a
love
great
that.
one.
Would he actually?
Yeah, he would because Bobby Hill's leading their goals, and he's
got
got
like 26 or something.
What's
and
Owens
Owens is
got?
like 28.
Yeah.
Always
better than Charlie Cameron. Oh, no,
confirmed.
I didn't just say that.
Always might be on 26.
Let's
don't
definitely
Let's get him up to Papley, and then you can give Alex a bit of crap for always being better than Papley.
Always definitely has the biggest head out of all.
Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Other injury news, Maximus Gornicus. We actually had this on Monday's Supercoach show with Drew Jones from Fox Footy, talking about Max Gorn attempting to come back. I think the training run is today.
They posted a video if people want to check that out on Supercoach AFL. He looked very ginger, but
we'll see what happens. So
you're not talking about his beard.
No. Oh, bang. There we go.
Racist. But then Gorn also has like one more chance essentially to sort of put his hand up, which would be interesting to see if they actually do bother. It is a really big game for both those teams this
I
week.
reckon he
Was it
might
Melbourne
play.
GWS? Right?
Yeah. I reckon he might play just because he's like the skipper in the back of his head's like, oh crap, if I play, I can lift the boys. But then again, he could stuff himself up even more and then have to go off at half time or something. I don't know. So I reckon he might play though, which is wild from only just a couple of weeks ago that he was out.
Yep. I'll pay that. I want to see him back just to help my Supercoach team.
Have you still got him?
Yeah, get him on the bench.
No, Ned Moyle will outscore him though.
Because my man Ned Moyle is crushing it.
Yeah.
Eric Hipwood got fined for tunnelling. Now, this is a thing that Alex was yelling about because he was at the game, the Sydney-Brisbane game on the weekend, and we've had an explanation. It was like, didn't result in an injury and stuff like that or something like that on Blakey.
But he could.
But there was also another thing where it's like, we've had explanations where it was like in the contest or not in the contest, and that's the problem. And this was kind of in the contest. It's like, it's still tunneling. What are we doing?
So wait, the rule, what their explanation is saying, until he breaks his neck, don't worry, it's just a fight.
Yeah.
Like,
That
he
was
literally
chaos.
could have broke. If you take someone's legs out, that is the most dangerous thing in every sport.
In the air.
Happens in rugby,
In the air,
happens
you
in a
can't
lot
do
of
it.
other sports. You
wasn't
cannot
even
do
a
that in
free.
basketball as well. It wasn't even a
wasn't
free.
even free.
The
That's
umpire's just like,
crazy.
that was cool. Just let them score a
He
goal.
nearly did a flip.
yeah.
Do it again.
Yeah, that was wild. We can get into that later, but that's a joke that he only got a fine, I think.
Oh, I hate that. Speaking of fine, Zach Butters, the most fine man in the AFL. We talked about
Not
this the
talking
other
about
day.
his looks.
Over
Yeah, because Rosie takes that. Yeah.
Rosie gets
his teammate.
he's the good looking one. Zach Butters is the one who's what do I call him? Ramsey Bolton? Yeah.
Sure.
Zach Butters, what is it, $37,000 or $36,725 or something, versus
taken-
the Draymond Green title of the AFL.
Well, yeah, or the Toby Green. He's taken over the Toby Green man.
I thought it was Jai Simpkin who had the most fines.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised, because Jai Simpkins
Yeah.
dirty. Yeah.
But the problem
he
was,
was a North fan too.
Yeah, he's dirty as.
he cops, an extra $10,000 of fines this week for two separate incidents. And one of them,
One of them was.
the $7,000 is just a bump off the ball. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
$7,000 for that? It's literally just bumping off the ball.
Nah, he's got enough money.
Got to harden up. Got to eat some concrete. What are we doing?
Eat some
It's
grass.
ridiculous.
With money.
Footy's gone soft.
Jim's been bumping people in the head.
I'm just like,
Jim bumps people in the head in the office.
I've
It's
got
brutal.
got this in my pocket at all times. Footy's gone soft.
Footy's gone soft.
But then the other one was very, very strange. And I think I don't often agree with Kane Corns on anything. I think his eyes are too close together and he's got a too big bulbous head. But same, it's so weird how much he looks like his dad. You know?
Yeah, it is.
You know, look, I understand familial recognition and all that stuff. It's just weird. But he gets fined an extra $3,000 for contact with an umpire where he's in a contest and the umpire falls over his and it's
his
an
leg
accident.
that's moving out of the way.
He's
Yes.
trying to get out of the
a
road.
player pushing on him in that direction
And his
too.
foot comes off the ground and the umpire falls over it. Like, what are we doing here? It's
Because
ridiculous.
umpires are clumsy, he gets a fine.
Hashtag free butters.
Yeah.
Don't mind that. Other little bits. There were some rumours floating around that Tigers weren't stoked with Dusty just going, hey, I got to go to New Zealand for a bit.
They were happy for him to go there with some personal family leave, because there's a lot going on in his family in New Zealand. But then they were like, just be careful with your back, Dusty. You said you have some back spasms, and that's why you're out still. Then he just goes and plays golf for a couple of days. And the media was saying all morning that they weren't happy. And then Richmond have just come out and said, he can do what he wants. And Leo's not happy with that, actually.
Richmond have got to stop letting Dusty walk all over.
Oh, he
their
just
football
played a
club.
bit of golf, mate.
No, but it's not about. It's about like he can take leave. That's
Yeah, I
fine.
know, I
But
know.
like, it's clear that he's running all on top of them, and it's not going to help their club in the future. How did it help Gold Coast with Gary Ablett?
Well, they
Not
almost
very
made
well.
finals. But
Almost.
they didn't make
Key
finals.
word is
Yeah, they
almost.
didn't.
They have not made finals.
Gary
in their whole
Ablett was their
career.
captain. He didn't even train. But
Yeah.
Then Dusty's. Yeah, what's going on there? Is he gonna come back? That's the big question.
It helped Son of God's bank account. That's
Yeah, and he got a cool house up there. Yeah,
pretty sick.
that's true.
Anyway, good stuff. Midweek winner of the week. I'm going to give this to my beloved Carlton Blues. I'm wearing a throwback
How?
right now.
Somehow.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
And
Alex.
for the kit.
We're talking about throwback jerseys.
Yes.
Jerseys, as you want to call them, if that's your vibe. I love a collar on a footy jersey. I think it's fantastic.
It doesn't make any sense to have a
Makes
collar,
zero
but I
sense
love
now.
it. I love it
It's olden days. It's old timey.
because it's not like it's sunny. You need to pop the collar like in cricket.
They're all going to sit MCC after the game. That's why they.
Yeah, they're going to go to the bull ring, have a few
Yeah, just so you
beers.
can go actually drink out a glass at the G.
Yeah.
It's I'm sick of these plastic pots, man.
Would you imagine just at the G and you just see all the Carlton boys after the game in the bull ring, just in the dark pits of the bull ring?
So
That'd be funny.
they're the midweek winner of the week, though, because, I mean, we saw Geelong have the old-timey photo session as well. They looked awesome. So basically, this also goes for the midweek winner is throwbacks.
Yes.
Yeah,
The fact that we don't have like a completely, and I've talked about this before with NBA on NBA Australia, throwback week is such an easy layup.
Yeah.
For every
They would sell a
sport.
lot of kits as well.
You'd sell kits coming out the wazoo. The
Yep.
Carlton ones are absolutely already flying. Same with the Geelong ones, right? It's so easy just for the AFL to go, throwback week.
Yep.
Let's do it. And because you can dig through each club's history, if you need clash, like people, oh man, what about clashes? I
sure
want
they
to
can
see them
figure
do
that
the
out.
classic one. Guess what? You can do the classic one next year. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
You've got so many different jerseys throughout your club's like history.
That people will like
There's
to see.
nothing saying that a throwback doesn't have to be like Carlton's awesome M&M ones from like 2006 or something.
Well, lots of Carlton fans hated that. But I like that.
I love it. It's a throwback. It's
Well-
now like the Vancouver Grizzlies. It's like the
Yeah.
teal Detroit Pistons. what was, sort of ranked then is now cool. I'm all about it.
Exactly.
So I think you can go back as far as you want. Like, you think about some of those Geelong ones, like some of the weird thickness of the hoops.
Yeah, it was cool. Well, North,
like
for example,
All the
our
weird
away
North
team,
ones.
our away kit at the
Did you have
moment.
an orange kit?
That is the worst kit in the history. When
Bring
we were
that one
sponsored by
back.
Orange, it was just all orange, disgusting. It was. You look at it and it would burn your eyes. But no, any kit but that. Thank you. Any kit.
But
but
the
that.
best part is this is the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
Because we can, each year, we go, retro jerseys.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Sweet.
You just rotate
Let's
it.
rank them! And away you go. We just start ranking
Perfect
all
for
these
us.
retro jerseys, as simple as that. The NBA have gotten onto this because they've got 1 million different sorts
They
of
have so
jerseys.
many
The problem
jerseys.
is they've gone too far.
Yeah.
And no one knows what jersey is what. And it's like, none of them are special.
They have like 10
And
jerseys
so if
a
you
year.
do
yeah.
one retro awesome round jersey, they become special. And I love the idea of putting the collars on them again. It looks radical. I'm just taken back to Tommy Alvin flying down the wing of the MCG or Princess Park.
You just want more mud as well.
I'm just all about the mud. This week I'm just mud and collars. Let's go.
What about the
Hawks
Hawks Power Rangers?
Brickies. I love that.
Yeah,
But either way, midweek round of the week is
I like that.
throwbacks.
Yep.
Nice.
All right. Should we go to McCurdy now and do some Yenars after or Yenars first? What do you reckon, gentlemen?
I reckon the people want McCurdy. So.
People want McCurdy.
Yeah.
Let's throw to Big J journalist, friend of the program, the man with the hair, Lockie McCurdy. All right, and now we welcome on a very special guest, friend of the program. He's up north there. He is the Swans GWS guru, some would call him. What is this, the repeat offender number 1, I think? Lockie McCurdy.
Yeah.
What's going on, Lockie?
Welcome back.
Well, I mean, thank you for having me first off, but I just do want to clarify, we're only up north if we're talking about the Vic-centric AFL. I mean, Swans are flying, Giants are back. I think maybe you guys are down south. I think that's the way we should put it at the moment.
Probably, yeah. Everyone's up north for us except for, Tassie, obviously.
Yeah, Tassie sucked in.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the vibe, though. I mean, that's what we love bringing you on, just to sort of get the vibe of what's going on up in Sydney, because I think when we last spoke, the Swans were absolutely flying. Now they've fallen in an absolute heap.
I hate that.
GWS were actually, I think, it's a bit of a reverse, because I think last time we spoke, they'd sort of hit that real rough injury patch, and now they've come good a little bit and are sort of cruising along. So, I mean, it's kind of a little bit of swings and roundabouts. The Swans are clearly, still on top of the table by a couple of wins, laughing there. But I want to hit on the thing that you actually wrote a really good story, as you do, the Code Sports, the new sports network, all the good stuff.
Yep.
We brought this up on Sunday's show about how the Swans keep losing close games. And you've written an incredibly long and detailed article about this, talking to Horse and everything. Getting some stuff from Horse about what happens in the
In
finals.
the close games, yeah.
Just explain it, because I'm an idiot. Just what's up with the Swans? Are they cooked? Are they just chokers when it comes to close games? What are we doing
Do
here?
they have a
McCurdy?
clutch problem? That's what we were talking about on the show, yeah.
It's interesting because I think there's definitely two lenses that you can look at it through. That you go, yes, they've lost 3 of their last 4, so I think that is a concerning streak no matter how you look at it, especially this time of the year when you want to start building that momentum towards final. So taking out the closeness of the losses, I think it is naturally a bit of a concern, especially when you throw in St Kilda, who have been struggling this year. But Freo Brisbane, obviously less so because they've been pretty good sides. But the combined margin of their 4 losses this year, so Richmond, Freo, St Kilda, and then last week against Brisbane, is 10 points.
Yeah,
so
wild.
in each of those games, I mean, in at least 3 of those games, they probably had opportunities to win the game. 2, they definitely did off Logan McDonald's boot, which unfortunately didn't go his way. But we turn around those results 1 goal either way. And for example, the Brisbane game, I know a lot's been made of the Hipwood-Blakey tunnelling accident, if you want to call it that, because it looked pretty intentional to me.
Yeah.
But if you want to take that accident where they scored a goal from, that's another 6-point turnaround where if that doesn't happen, the Swans maybe win the game. And we're talking about a team that's only lost to the Tigers. So it is a concern, I think, that in the games that have been close, they haven't been able to get a win yet, because you need to be able to do that in finals. You don't get these second chances once September comes around, because their smallest win so far this year is 14 points against the Western Bulldogs at Marvel Stadium. And even then, that was relatively comfortable. A few goals late kind of brought it close again. So I think it's something that they'll want to kind of correct in the coming weeks, because they've got some really important games. Obviously, the Dogs this weekend, they've got Port Adelaide and Collingwood, and they're 3 games which really should be quite close on paper. So they'd love to keep winning by 30, 40 points, but they'd take a bit of confidence that they can finally win a close one within a goal.
Well, how about my contention that, They're not clutch and they're flat track bullies.
No.
I just came up with it right
Says
then.
the Carlton supporter. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
I
right.
think it is weird though, when you win, like when the Swans are winning, like it is by large
By a lot,
margins,
yeah.
right?
They're actually
And
rolling, yeah.
It is weird that they're sort of like, we obviously know that they have these first quarter blips where they just take a while to get rolling, and that's fine. Because they do keep on winning, they are top of the table.
Well,
by
that's
2
another way of
wins.
looking at it. If they just start well, they won't have to worry as much in the clutch.
Yeah, I think that
possibly.
might be the biggest
Yeah,
thing, right?
yeah.
Like, how do you then just fix those starts, McCurdy?
So I think the really interesting thing is that it just feels like a bit of a lack of energy and pressure combined with teams going, hang on a sec, we're playing the ladder-leading Sydney Swans. Let's try and match them for that first quarter. And it's like they're shocked almost every time a team does it, because for the last sort of 6, 7, 8 weeks, they've spoken about it post-game. Longmire's addressed it. They've tried to address it during the week, but they just haven't been able to get it going. And I think it's a natural thing that happens across the course of a season, especially when you've been flying and you have that sort of 13-1 start to a year. Of course, you're going to have to come down a little bit. But I think it's going to be integral in the next couple of weeks to go, okay, we need to put together performances that will work in finals now, because if you look at especially that Brisbane first quarter, you think back to the Geelong and Carlton first quarters at the SCG, you can't give up those starts in finals. You can't give up 4 or 5 goal leads. So I think we'll start to see a real shift in intensity in terms of, okay, this is the way we want to play come September. But unfortunately, it's come at the same time where injuries have finally started to hit for them as well.
I think it's great for Sydney because they're like the inverse of Carlton, who play one really great quarter every game.
Yeah.
And then like
they
just
just
3 shocking ones and it sucks.
You'd
And,
rather
like,
that. You'd rather
whereas
that.
like I'd rather be the Swans where it's like, we just have a bit of a slow start going, oh, what? You come to play little old me? And then what, bang!
yeah.
Like, they just like smoke everybody. It's awesome. But outside of this as well, I mean, we've got 2 other little things to hit on with the Swans. I mean, obviously Sam Reid retires. Incredible career, like an amazingly strange,
Very weird one,
injury-struck, wildly lengthy career. What is it, 15 seasons for 181 games,
That's
right?
just brutal, isn't it? Yeah.
Like, and hasn't played since the 22 grand final where he came in injured, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, you wrote another article about that as well for Code. I mean, Sam Reid, what does he mean to the Swans fans and to that team?
Beyond my favourite Sam Reid sort of anecdote being the fact that he got on that 2012 AFL Live video game cover.
I saw you post that.
I still think
was
that's
he
one
the
of the
cover athlete. Yeah.
It was one of the more remarkable ones at the time, but it kind of
wild.
just summed up because he had this prodigious talent, this marking ability that everyone thought, okay, we've seen enough sort of 2010, 11, 12 that he's going to go on and become a really important player. And in moments, he absolutely was for the Swans. I think everyone thinks back to, obviously, when you win a flag in 2012, he was integral in their run to the 2022 grand final. But it was his ability to kind of play all across the ground. He almost was central to one of those guys who would just drop back and take marks on the goal line if the Swans had a 6-point lead with less than a minute to go, something maybe they would need desperately at the moment. But there was a game, I think, against Freo, I want to say 15 or 16 or somewhere around there, where he actually saved a draw when he went back and took a mark on the goal line. I think it was 70 all. And it's those little moments that I think Swans fans remember Sam Reid for, that he had this incredible pair of marking hands that would barely drop anything. And he had his issues, obviously, with kicking and accuracy, and then obviously staying on the field across the years. But 2022 was probably his best year on the field. He was finally deployed as kind of a second ruck alongside Tom Hickey and being able to kind of then pinch hit and go up forward. And it unlocked the best out of him. It unlocked a new energy in the way he played. He was getting across the ground really well. He was probably as fit as ever. And he was having that consistent impact without having to kind of necessarily be the guy to hit the scoreboard. So, yeah, it's a funny career. I think you're right in saying that he wins a flag in 2012 as this young up-and-coming key forward. And then in the next 2 years, the Swans bring in Kurt Tippett and Buddy Franklin. And then it's like, okay, well, what role is he going to play? And even though there were injuries throughout that time, he found a really important way to remain integral for a side for the best part of a decade and a half.
I was trying to think about this. Like, Sam Reid at his absolute best, it's like the second Japan Droids record, Celebration Rock. Like, it's just joyous. It's just fists in the air. This is awesome.
This is great. Yeah.
I'm just hanging out with my boys. We're watching Sam Reid. This is unreal. Like, that's my entire vibe.
Sydney fans love Sam Reid.
I love Sam Reid.
A lot of people like
when he
Sam
was
Reid.
actually up and about,
Yeah.
he was a fantastic footballer to watch. So it's kind of sad to see him sort of hang up the boots after another hammy. So,
But yeah, crazy career in the end. Yeah.
bizarre. Otherwise, how's Heen-Man going up there after his 1 week off and became the
Free Heaney signs wherever you were at the SCG. I saw that was pretty funny.
Julian Assange apparently of the AFL out of nowhere, just persecuted, kicked into the Ecuadorian embassy, no doubt.
It's only 1 week. God, yeah.
Look, I think he's loving being back and playing footy. I got a chance to chat to him before the Lions game, and he actually said, obviously, there was a lot that happened around the tribunal cases, and personally, I think it looks even a bit more surprising given some of the bans and non-bans we've seen in the sort of fortnight prior post that. But he said he was able to look on the bright side a little bit of the ban. His grandmother was quite ill, so he got to go back up to the Hunter here in New South Wales and spend a bit of time with her. He got to just kind of get a different bit of a different view of the game and really kind of see what was working and what wasn't for the Swans. And he was probably a bit quiet, probably by his own admission, against the Lions, had a couple of goals, which you'd normally back him to kick that he didn't in that sort of third quarter. But yeah, I think he's going to have a point to prove for the rest of the year. Obviously, there's all the stuff about the Brownlow, about the video that they put out, and I think everyone would go, look, the Swans could have done something a bit different there. Didn't have to go as formal in that regards. But I think you've got a player who's so well loved and respected. He's the first academy kid to come through the Swans as well. So I think that's why it really means something to Sydney fans that he was on this trajectory of going, oh, hang on a sec, he could win a Brownlow. The kid that's come through the Hunter region, come through the Swans Academy and could typify success of footy in Sydney. So I think that's why it probably meant that little bit more to Swans fans, and he's always been our fan favourite. So while the standing ovation that he got during that North Melbourne game when he walked around the touchline might have externally appeared a little bit maybe over the top and odd, I think it kind of sums up just how popular he is with this Sydney fan base and how much he's going to be integral to what they do for the rest of this season.
See, stats guy, that's why we get McCurdy on.
Yeah,
So you just usually go just Alex, just but rabbit and go, no, he's really good, shut up, he did nothing wrong. And like, that's basically it. Like, that's the analysis. We get McCurdy on.
Inside
sort of
info,
get a bit
yeah.
of inside info,
I like
and you
it,
see
yeah.
how it goes.
Very nice.
I also loved, I think it was like that sort of combo of he and Toby Green sort of hanging out after that, and the sort of the story around that was kind
It's
of
a bit
fun.
of fun, yeah. They were trying
And
to
look,
make a big article out of nothing.
I think
out of
people
that.
sort of eventually just went, oh yeah, that's funny. That's
Yeah.
all right, I'll pay that.
Yeah.
That's good. Speaking of GWS, that was a good segue, see? Especially
right.
when you call attention to the segue.
Yeah,
Makes
yeah,
it,
Leo likes
makes
to
it
talk
even
about that on the
smoother.
show.
Seamless.
That's what it's all about. The tsunami is kind of back, isn't it? Like, it's
Sort of.
they've looked substantially better in the last 4 weeks essentially. What do you think there is sort of behind this for GWS? Like, and can they sort of make the top 4, do you reckon, from here?
Yeah, it's kind of back. It kind of isn't. It's been a strange one for the Giants. The fact that they're winning games, but almost not in the way that they normally win games, which is it's a really positive for Adam Kingsley, because they obviously had that stretch of sort of 2 months where they really struggled. They got the win down in Geelong, which is proving really important now because it's kind of keeping them up in that top 8. And now they've got this stretch of 3 straight wins where only the Lions they're the only other team that's won their last 3 straight games. So you've got the Giants slowly building momentum, which we saw how important that was last year. So the key is now to kind of get all parts of that tsunami back up and running, because you saw against Gold Coast, while their attack looked good in stages, that they didn't get the ball inside 50 anywhere near enough. And they let the ball in from Gold Coast 66 times inside 50. And that's just such a startling stat. Like, everyone around the club is like, we can't let that happen. And the Suns and Ben King, they were the ones who kind of let them off from their shocking kicking on the day, because I think King finished, 3 behinds, 2 out on the fulls. It was shocking.
off, yeah.
And then down the other end, you had Jesse Hogan kicking straight. You had Toby Green kicking over the top of his head. Like, they were just... It showed the difference in class between the two teams. And I think that's where the Giants are slowly starting to realise, hang on a sec, we've got some really good players we can rely upon, but we've got some really nice young guys around them who are bringing the energy and bringing the excitement. So I think there is genuine belief that they can push for the top 4. They've got an incredibly tough run home. I think that's going to be the real deciding thing, that if they make the top 4, you almost put them into that bracket of, okay, they're top 2, top 3 premiership contenders, because they've got such a tough draw over the next 5 weeks that if they're winning 4 or 5 of their next games, they're going to be hard to stop once September gets here.
Battle of the Bridge Granny, Jim. Is that a possibility?
I'm
Bring
all
it, bring it
for
to the SCG, I say.
That would actually that would be the one game where I would go, even as a Melbourne. That would be cool if that was in Sydney.
We would have like the world's largest amount of content just going, should we play to the SCG or not? Like just nonstop.
That would be great.
Like Alex would just have a megaphone just leaning out every window he could find, just screaming about how it should be there.
That'd be pretty cool.
I love the idea, actually. I'm here for it.
I was going to say on this next question that Jesse Hogan, I think he's a part of that reason why they're firing again. He was awesome at the start of the year. We're like, he's going to win the Coleman. 2 months of him doing nothing. And now could he win the Coleman again? That's the big question here, Lockie. What do you reckon? And what were the major reasons he was a bit off, do you think?
I think it was just like the rest of the team. They just weren't executing their forward 50 entries well enough. They weren't giving him enough of a look. But I think there's also a sense of, okay, some of the more experienced players have gone, let's try and see what we can do now. Let's turn this around a little bit. And you look at some of the key stats across the competition. Jesse's, I think, got the most contested most marks inside 50 in the comp by like 15 or so over like the likes of Curnow and Langford and Mackay. So he's just such a dominant figure up forward that anytime there's a one-on-one in his direction, he's odds-on favourite to kind of win it. And the Giants are really targeting him with their inside 50 entries. But I think what we've seen in the last couple of weeks is they're picking and choosing their moments a little bit better in terms of when to target him. They're letting him have one or two, then they're finding a Toby Green, they're finding a Jake Riccardi, and then there's some of their smaller forwards like your Brent Daniels and Harvey Thomases who are having a bit more of an impact. And it means that Hogs can kind of sit up the ground a bit more. He's not having to work as hard down the wing, because that's something we saw in that sort of 6-week stretch, that when they weren't getting as many points, when they weren't passing that 80 threshold, it was because Hogs was having to come down to the wing and try and take that big contested mark just to get that bit of territory in his team's favour. So I think it'll be interesting to see how they get him through the next 5 weeks. He doesn't do well against Melbourne. I think he's only ever kicked one goal against the D's in his career. Yeah. So he's looking forward to, I think, having a little bit of a resurgence against his former side as well.
That'd be interesting.
It. Break out the Pythons. Away he goes. Just start flexing on Lever and May and Co. That'd be pretty fun.
Yeah, I know you'd like to lock him down, as he said. That'd be interesting.
And I guess, I mean, you hit on the sort of tribunal stuff earlier about Hangman. And obviously we saw Toby Bedford go from 3 weeks out to 0.
Crazy.
And I mean, what do you think, like a team like GWS sort of look at the result of that and go, I think we got away with one here, boys, and then they go from there? Like, what do you think the approach is from here on out for teams to be like, what are we doing? Like, how?
I think they're going, what are we doing here? Like, yeah.
What are we meant to do? Like, we're just challenging everything now here, right? We might have a shot. Like, it sort of just, there's so much confusion around the league right now. And I think Bedford sort of plays into that a little bit too. So it's just a bit of chaos, right?
Yeah, it absolutely is. I mean, the Bedford case is the perfect example where he and the Giants were so confident that he had done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
They went to the tribunal. The tribunal found that he had done something wrong, and they didn't explain it well enough, which is the only reason he got off. But the Giants were still so confident that they'd done nothing wrong that they'd argued their case. But the next day they heard from the AFL. We saw the explanations go out to say, no, these are still dangerous tackles. It was only an error law. That's the only reason Bedford's kind of getting off. And it leads to more confusion and grey area than ever. I mean, we saw Bedford in the game against the Suns. There was a tackle, I think it was on Noah Anderson, and he kind of lowered him to the ground and quickly went, hands up. I didn't do anything. And
Sir, I didn't touch him, sir. Like a lot of that, right?
It's so awkward at the moment. Yeah.
Ugh.
And I think you can see a bit of the difference between that tackle and the Taranto tackle, because he does release the arm. So I think in a way it's almost a really good highlight reel to go, okay, he probably didn't do much wrong against Taranto, but you can see what he did right in the Anderson tackle. So I think we'll start to see a bit more of that. But Adam Kingsley has spoken extensively about how they've had coaching experts in teaching, okay, making sure you release the arm if you're going to ground. Make sure you're looking at ways to limit that contact. So it's not like the players aren't taking this seriously. And I think the drop in concussions, the drop in overall suspensions does show that. But I think there also just needs to be a bit of common sense applied, and that we're maybe overcorrecting at the moment for some of these tackles, that once we find that, we bring it back, find a middle ground, and then hopefully everything will feel sorted. Because I think it is important to try and stamp concussion out of the game, but penalising actions that have always been accurate, have always been celebrated, and aren't really contributing to the concussion, I think that's where we kind of step over the mark a little bit.
Absolutely.
I'll pay that.
Yeah.
Not bad. All right, well, put you on the spot. 5 rounds to go. Swans, do they finish on top of the ladder, and where did GWS land?
Cool.
I've got Swans finishing top. I know that seems like a bold prediction. 2 points clear, 2 games clear, big percentage boost. I think they might drop 1 or 2 more over this next stretch. I think the Dogs game this week is an absolute danger game. I mean, they've just gone down to Geelong and got the 4 points down there. And then you've got a few other danger games as well. You've got Collingwood, who love coming up to Sydney and causing an upset. You've got the Crows, who we all know what happened last year when they couldn't get to finals because of a certain goalpost incident at Sydney. So they'll be thinking about that one maybe a little bit about getting some revenge. And but there's just enough class there. They've got enough guys coming back that Hayward should play, Mills should play, Bottom's close to playing, that they should be able to cover for the few injuries that they do have, which is a positive, and continue their kind of positive streak at home. The Giants is an interesting one. I think at their best, they could sneak into that top 4, and a first v fourth quali final, Sydney Giants, would be fascinating
awesome.
viewing just for the social media content alone. But I think a home elimination final is probably more likely for the Giants. They've just got such a tough draw, and there's obviously such a logjam around them that if they can get that 5th or 6th and get a home game, whether it's an Essendon, a Fremantle, or someone like that, depending on how results kind of plateau over the next couple of weeks, I think they'd back themselves in. But I think the Giants are the team that no one would want to play if they make finals. I think even the Swans, if they had to pick one team they wouldn't want to play, it's probably the Giants this year in finals.
Ooh, I like that.
That's a good call, yeah.
That's spicy.
That is.
That's why we get him on. He not only doesn't, he's got the best hair in the biz. He writes some of the greatest words you'll ever see on Code Sports. That's why we get Lockie McCurdy on. Thanks for joining us again, mate.
No worries, guys. Speak soon.
All right, how good was that chat with McCurdy? I told you, Stats Boy. It was awesome. You were there. What are you talking about?
What do you mean? I was there and I enjoyed it and I loved it. It was great.
All right, let's do some yeah-nahs. A bit of midweek madness yeah-nahs for you. This one was from Alex on his sick bed. I don't think he's alive anymore. We should probably do a bit of a health check, but to be honest, nah. Has Dusty quietly quit Richmond? Yeah, nah.
Yeah.
No, I don't think quit's the right word.
Well, he's in New Zealand.
He's probably just using all of his built-up leave. All right,
Yeah.
that's how it goes.
Can't say how it works today.
Pretty
Cobb
sure.
just said you got too much leave. You got to take.
You got to take it, Dusty.
AFL players have a lot of leave, obviously, because they get like 6
That's the joke, Stats.
No, I'm just trying to get my head around all of this Dusty stuff.
I think
he's done.
No, I don't think quit's the right word. I just think he's just
Disinterested?
doesn't care that
Yeah.
much.
No, they just changed his contract to part-time. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Just,
Isn't that what Jared Waitley said? Part-time
footballer,
on
yeah.
1.4 million.
I love that.
It's a good point.
That's a great gig, though.
Part-time footy player.
Part-time legend.
Part-time
Because you're already a legend, but now you're just playing part-time. It's just the smooth out. It's the golden parachute.
Maybe he'll play
on
in
your way
the
out.
New Zealand NZAFL. There's a competition over there. Imagine he'd average 60 touches over there.
Maybe just really getting into disc golf.
maybe.
Who knows?
What
What do you, I love this idea. Like, what does Dusty do in retirement?
Well, he obviously likes golfing because he's been playing it this week. What else? He'd be in Bali and Vegas a lot. Maybe I think Vegas.
Buying
Buying
pubs.
pubs. Yeah. With Dane Swan.
Because doesn't he own the Albion, or has that changed?
Well,
Down in
Dane
South
Swan
Melbourne?
does, but maybe Dusty has a bit of a coin on that one.
Go hang out with Libba.
Yeah.
Where's his pub? Spotswood?
Ascot Vale.
Seddon.
No, does he own that one?
It's
Yes,
Ascot Vale,
Ascot Vale
and then
owns
there's
that
one
one.
in Seddon around the corner from my house.
There you go. Nice one, Libba. I'm going to go to that.
We should rank AFL players' pubs. That's a fun
We should
segment.
go.
Just do a pub
We're just
golf.
we're doing a pub
we should do a
golf.
pub
Oh my
golf
God.
at every
Oh my God.
We
How
can't-
have I not thought of
we
this
can't
before,
film it
boys?
though.
Why not?
Because it's alcohol.
What are you talking about?
I'll just drink
There is a week
Diet
between
Coke.
the end of the regular season and the postseason. What are we doing that week, gentlemen?
Mad Monday for
Oh
us.
boy. AFL Today does every
Oh my
AFL-owned pub in
We should
Melbourne.
actually do that.
What if
like
there's
this.
one out in like Shepparton?
No, it doesn't matter.
Going to Shepherd.
Uber.
I'm not paying for that.
Jim,
I love this.
Jim said he
Just-
can pay for
we're
it.
ranking them. This is going to be great.
Ranking the footy-owned pubs. I like it.
Who's pouring the best pint? Like, it's
Well,
going to be great. Best
Libba
array
says-
of
I'm
beers
gonna
on
go
tap.
for Libba.
Libbers
One
says
in Seddon's
he's
very
the
good.
coldest pots in Melbourne. That's what he's
One in Seddon's very good. I went on steak night. Didn't mind it.
Nice. I like this. We have a...
We're definitely doing that. Even if it's not filmed, we're just doing it.
to be
anyway.
honest, yeah, this could be an off-season thing.
Yeah.
Team bonding.
Team bonding. Yeah.
All right, the other one is, we've got a couple more yeah-nahs here. Hipwood should have been suspended for that tunnelling incident. Yeah, nah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
Definitely.
brutal. Like
not
I
a
said
football
before,
act.
not a football act. He wasn't going for the ball. If it was a bump and he was on the ground, it would have been fine. 'cause
If it
he-
was a genuine contest,
yeah.
this was just taking a dude's legs out.
The guy was clear in the air. He had about 4 steps to like judge.
Yeah.
This is what they say in all the tackling, and it's like, oh, before you get to there, you got to judge.
A reasonable
Yeah.
player would.
But they didn't put that in for.
This is like, so we hit
So
this
weird.
at the end of the chat with McCurdy, right? About like the sort of chaos around the MRO and everything. And like, I think Robbo this week on like 360 and stuff was sort of talking about how it just basically needs another overhaul. It's like, I don't know if it needs another overhaul. I think it just needs very simple, straight up clarification on most things.
It needs to, like we've said before, like a pub test, like a random
test.
dude that is an AFL fan, like one of us.
No, but then they're just
to-
going to side with their team.
No, or yeah, no, but we're not
He's going to be
biased.
like, oh, Cripps did that.
Look,
It's
see,
all
I
right.
think I'm pretty impartial,
Like-
boys. Anyone
Cripps
on
hooked someone off the ball.
Like
Nah,
Jim on
it's
it, for
fine.
example, he could be on it, but he can't do Carlton games. And if I was on it, I couldn't do North games. But at least you've got a fan that knows the game. It's like they don't know the game at all, the tribunal.
Yeah.
It's like they're just going
They
off the
haven't
rules.
played the game.
They haven't played the game, I don't think.
So when you actually look at the MRO, there are like former players and stuff and former umpires, right? But
Yeah.
the
Not
problem
all
is
of them, though.
it's actually they've all been retired for a fairly
Yeah, a long
long
I
time.
also
now.
think, though, I don't even think like Michael Christian would agree with these decisions he's making. It would be the AFL telling him, hey, look, we don't want a lawsuit. Let's ping everything with a concussion.
yeah.
I don't reckon he'd agree with the suspensions he
That's
makes.
true.
Don't want to be the bit of American football. I don't want to say an actual organization's name, but tell the truth. Tell the truth. You see that movie, Concussion?
I have, actually, I have.
Harrowing,
I have. Yeah,
boring stuff.
That is crazy.
Other nahs. Essendon will make finals. Yeah,
Oh,
nah.
you put
I
this
just
one
did,
in?
I've done two ladder predictors. They always change every time I do them, but both times Essendon are 9th and another one they're 12th. But I think they'll finish 9th. Their
They're
percentages.
at 12.
Yeah, I think so. I was a bit of a joke one, but 9th, I think they're going to finish. They have
right.
a really tough schedule from here.
Let's analyze
Let's
it.
do it.
Yeah.
Win or loss. Here we go. Essendon. Going up against St Kilda this Saturday
That's a
at
win.
Marvel Stadium.
Win.
Win.
Essendon hosting Fremantle the following Sunday.
Freo
At the MCG.
Freo are good at the G.
I don't know where that one is. That
It's at the
might be-
MCG. I had a
that
look
is at the
before.
G.
Yeah.
That says Marvel there.
Oh.
Interesting.
It said the
I'll have to
MCG
check
on the-
I think
squiggles
they'll
up.
win that.
I'm going to
No
say
confidence,
loss.
though.
I'm going to say loss.
Essendon hosting the Gold Coast
Yeah, they'll
Suns.
win
Well,
that.
that's a win
Yeah.
because
Because it's here, yeah.
28th parallel.
Yep.
Essendon hosting the Sydney Swans.
Nah, cooked.
That's got to be a loss.
Their last three, they're going to lose.
Brisbane hosting the Essendon Bombers.
Yeah, that's a smashing.
in the final
That's
round.
a whomping, as Alex would say.
So that's I've got 3 wins, 2 losses there. That should be enough for finals if they win 3.
Maybe.
This
Where's my ladder gone?
Well, they're
very,
8th, aren't they?
very interesting to me. So at the moment, they are 8th.
How many wins are they on right now?
So in terms of their actual wins and loss
42
record,
points.
they are 10-7-1.
3 more wins.
Okay,
with
well-
should get it.
With the Dogs, Melbourne, and Hawthorn directly behind them, 2 points behind them, Stats Boy. With those games to come, if you are only going to give them 2 or 3 wins,
I think they have to beat Freo for them to make finals because if they don't, I've got 13 wins in 8th, which is brutal.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be out of Port, Gold Coast, and Essendon in that 8th.
I think Dogs will get in.
Yeah, Dogs
I
and-
don't know if it'll be for Essendon though.
so yeah, that Freo game is at the G. So Googles are wrong. The AFL website has it at the
Yes.
G. So Marvel, the G, Marvel, Gabba.
I reckon
It's a
they're
tough
cooked, yeah. Which is funny, they could have been top 4, but anyway.
That was a good win-loss. I like
Yes.
that one. Hawks have the best player culture. Where did this come from?
I just put that in there because
I didn't
they
even put this in.
I put this in there because their social media, which Leo's been talking about all year, I
Yeah,
finally
very
jumped
good.
on it and I've gone, this is very funny. They're all on the same page. We talked about this on the Sunday show. Part of the reason they're winning is because they're just having fun. They look like a local footy team, an under 14 team that go, we can't lose. We're just unbelievable. Like
What do I thrive on, Stats Boy?
vibes.
Vibes.
Yep.
I thought he was going to say chaos.
that
too.
no, vibes.
Chaotic
Chaotic
vibes. are my
vibes.
favourite.
There we go. You got chaotic vibes.
That's how Carlton play footy. Just absolute chaotic
If
vibes.
you don't thrive on that.
Oh, God. It gives me a heart attack. But the vibes for the Hawks
just
are
awesome.
immaculate.
Yeah.
Like they weren't immaculate the first 6 weeks of the season.
Obviously, winning helps, but they just, I think because you got so many young guys around the
Yeah.
same age.
They basically beat the Pies because their vibes were better.
yeah,
They're all going to like grow up together. Like,
Yeah,
it's a
it's
big
fun.
family.
Oh,
Bruce will be their like granddad like, by the time they're all.
Bruce will be like 80, still
Yeah.
kicking like 2 goals in the sub or something.
Just give it to me, boys.
Bruce is the sub forever until he dies.
Look, I don't think we have the best player culture. I
think you're up
we,
there.
I think we have the funnest. I think
Yep.
the best probably has to go to Sydney.
Yeah.
Boring answer, but I think we definitely have the funnest culture at the moment.
Fun is correct because I don't know if the Sydney one is fun. Well, Bloods culture.
Yeah, they're a bit more serious.
All right, horse.
Excellence. That's what you're
Yeah,
all about.
cool.
Whereas Hawks are like, how good's being a footy player? This is sick.
Yeah.
We're not even in finals yet. We're just blowing it.
It's like you're going to win the flag and
Yeah.
everyone's just happy. I love it.
We could almost rank the teams in terms of vibes
We should,
of the
actually.
playing group. And that
Melbourne
might be
last.
one. We could probably do that in tomorrow's show, actually, before
Do it
we
right now.
get into the teams. All right. Might need a little bit more prep.
Yeah,
Just saying.
we'll do it for the next one, yeah.
All right, good stuff. There's some good yeah-nahs. All right, let's do the Coleman and the Brownlow update because I think the Brownlow just got very, very, very interesting this past week, Stats Boy.
Yes.
If you look at some of the predictors, obviously we had rough weeks for all of Dacos, Lockie Neal,
Warner.
Chad Chunley-Warner,
Yeah.
and the Bont. All fairly quiet, whereas Patrick Cripps went quapang
Yeah.
He'll get a
on
couple
the
of votes.
ruse and
yeah.
should at least get 2 there, you'd think. You also have Gould. Whoa, Errol. With that booming left leg, he's going to win a Brownlow. Like, it's...
Maybe.
He's awesome. He is absolutely charging now. And now that Heaney... This is the thing. Like, the umpires go, well, you've been rubbed out, so no votes for you from here, bro. Yeah? Shucked
Well,
in.
he wasn't very good on the weekend either, but yeah.
Same time. Like, you've been rubbed out. You're sort of out of the equation.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Gordon could just be snagging threes the rest of the way.
Yeah.
I still like him as a bit of a come from the clouds
Yeah.
candidate. I like that a lot.
Yep.
Dacos, I'm
worried about him.
Very worried about
Yeah.
that because I felt like that was a lock
Well, a
to
lot
just
of
come charging home. But the way they're playing, it's just kind of stinky.
the last
So,
month as well, he hasn't been that good. The AFL Brownlow predictor gave him 3 votes the other week when he wasn't good at all.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be, he's definitely behind Neil, Bont, and Cripps. So
Yep.
I think he's going to drop off now, unfortunately for Pies
Yeah.
fans.
So if we look at this other Brownlow predictor, Cripps is a few votes clear, they reckon, and I'm not entirely convinced.
I
of
reckon
that.
that's right.
I reckon Noah Anderson is probably right there with Haynes, Dacos, Bont, Neal. Zerrett also probably has a bit of a
Sarong,
chance.
the sneaky one.
If the Bombers actually win some of these games and we've just gone and lost them,
Yeah.
if they win some of those, Zerrett
could.
is a bit of a sneaky one to just go, hey, I'm going to get us into the finals, boys. Jump on my back.
He's dropped off last couple of weeks, though.
Isn't quite that type of player sometimes.
Mm.
I don't know. Be interesting to see what happens. Have you got anyone else there, Leo, that you wouldn't mind to keep an eye on?
Not anyone else. I just think Cripps wins it from here, to be honest. I think he's been the one
He's
that's
been
stayed
awesome.
consistent over the last sort of 2 months, whereas, Bond's had a down game, Neal, Warner, Dacos, all have had down games. I think it's Cripps to lose from here, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't like that at all.
Sorry, Jim.
Daryl Gordon's to lose, damn it.
To be fair, everyone that you think's going to win in the last few
Yeah.
years, they never win.
They
so,
never actually
that's
do win.
true.
So we'll have to wait and see.
All right, the Coleman update. This one is very easy because it's just literally as they've kicked the goals. Kerno should have probably, over the last 2 weeks,
Should have kicked some more.
the 3-time Coleman medal winner, Charlie
Medal.
Kerno, has gotten a little bit shakier.
Yeah.
Just for the simple fact of he could probably have at least 5 more over the last 2 weeks.
Yep,
Keeps
definitely.
rushing it.
At
Yeah.
least. There was one that I think I was watching the Blues Roos game. Carlton, I think, had just gotten down and just sort of started fighting back a little bit. He took a pretty easy mark, 25 metres out on the sort of slight angle and rushed it and completely
He did it twice.
cooked it.
He
You're
did it
like,
twice.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Didn't he try and snap one from like 40
Yeah.
from a set shot?
And he's
Yes,
a
he's done
booming
that before.
kick. You're like, I don't know.
When he just lets loose, it's just free the Kerno.
yeah.
Just free
He's
the
still
Charlie.
4 goals ahead in the Coleman, though.
So here's 53. Jesse Hogan,
he's charging the last 3 weeks.
49.
Yeah.
How many goals has he kicked over the last month, Stats? Bro? Bring it
That's
up.
what I was about to check. Give me 1 sec. I'm pretty sure it's 5-4-4 the last
Nice.
3.
Not
Let
bad.
me have a look.
Ben King's on
Yes.
45.
Ben King should be on 52.
He's had
Exactly.
so many
Yeah.
shots.
Talk about leaving some on the side of the road.
Max
there,
King
Ben
is taking his spot, though, for sure.
My beloved Harry McFive, 44.
Did Harry Mackay give Kerno like bad kicking this year? I feel like they kind of swapped.
Well, at least Kerno's going to win. This
you
is
think-
also
Yeah, no, but like last year,
you're trying to say that they
like-
Freaky Friday themselves,
Yeah,
right?
literally.
because Harry's been pretty active.
They've both gone to
Yeah.
P in the Yarra, and it's like somehow transferred their goal kicking
Kerno's
prowess.
losing his hair.
But
got
Harry,
a twin.
I was actually like the Harry sort of role is interesting to watch as well with TDK out for the rest of the home and away season. It means you'll probably see more Mackay pinch hitting in the ruck.
Yeah, he will.
Which
Kerno's not as fit.
means it's probably better for Kerno's Coleman chances because he'll
Yes.
just be a lot more one out, I dare say. And it probably doesn't give Harry McFive much more of a chance to kick Harry McFive.
This is also a very low Coleman race.
Yeah, it feels
like
low.
I don't know why.
I feel like this time last year they're all like around 60.
60, yeah, because even
Larky was
Larky
on
had
like,
70,
60,
yeah.
yeah.
So that's really low.
And the J Train, Jakey Waterman, missed last week as well, 41.
He's going to kick 10 and then he'll be right back in it. So
Let's
it's all
go.
good.
I believe in you,
10
J
of
Train.
West Coast,
Well,
9 goals.
Yeah.
Nice.
Exactly.
All right, that'll do it for AFL Today. For today, we'll be back with AFL Today tomorrow for the Thursday team show. Thanks to very good friend of the program, Big J journalist Lockie McCurdy from Code Sports. You go check out all of his great work on the Swans and the Giants, as we discussed, which was really fun. And thank you, of course, to the ding guy here. We've got the stats boy, Liam McCallion.
Thank you.
And the social guy, Leo Mullally.
Thank you, Jim.
Good job. Remember to smash a like across all the socials to see us doing lots of fun stuff. As mentioned, what do we got this week? We've got the goal on the mark of the week of the year of the week.
Yeah, that's gone up already.
Power rankings, all
Power
the good
rankings,
stuff. You're
few
going to do some
other
of the Warples.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
Nice.
a bit of fun
Sounds
stuff
good.
on there. Yeah.
Opportunities are endless.
I like that. Subscribe, star, and like all of our shows, of course, on your podcast app. That's the Cricket Today podcast, the Football Today podcast, NBA Australia, NFL Australia, which is firing back up very scarily soon, and Hold All tickets, of course, as well. Get around them like Dusty getting around a bit of disc golf. On my back. Anyway, that'll do it. We'll catch you later this week, i.e. tomorrow, for the Thursday team show. For AFL Today, that's it. Until then, look after yourselves. Remember, footy's back. If you like this show, make sure you check out all the other shows on the Sports Today network, from the AFL Today show to the Cricket Today podcast, the Football Today podcast, as well as NBA Australia and NFL Australia. With Sports Today, your sporting needs have never been easier to cover.